Yo, boys.
What's
Hell yeah,
happening?
the guns are out. That's what I'm talking about.
How are you guys?
Good, man. Good.
Good. I read or well, I listened to an audiobook the first before I actually read it. And it's the first time I've ever done that. But the author was such a good narrator that I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop.
The King James Bible?
It might as well
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
Delco Dirtball. My
Oh,
God,
you're
dude.
sweet.
I
Thank you, brother.
fucking loved it. I've never
Thank you,
done
my
that
friend.
before that I can remember.
Oh, thank you, man.
But as soon as I just like, I'm going to listen to a little bit of the audiobook.
hmm
I couldn't stop. Couldn't stop, dude. In
Thank you,
two
brother.
sittings, I listened to the whole fucking book.
Thank you, dude. That means a lot to me, man. And yeah, I feel very fortunate, man. Everything worked out. There's some things that like, I don't know. I like doing everything on my own, and I like being able to just have like total control over everything I'm doing. Um, but there's naturally some things that I wish I did different. But like with the audiobook, like I am putting out another version where I have a bunch of my buddies on. They're going to voice a lot of the other characters, man. So I'm excited about that.
I'm fucking buying that too.
Yeah.
Well, you're getting
So,
it for free if you ordered the
oh,
audiobook.
okay.
I'm
Nah,
going to
come
give it
on,
to
dude. I'll pay
everybody.
for it. It doesn't
I
matter.
know you would, but I can't do that to you. John, is that that looks like a very racist T-shirt? What
It's
is that?
very racist. Yeah, it's a we have a certain secret society that we belong to, and no, it's a Richard Pryor Slayer, like it's a in the Slayer
Oh,
letter,
okay,
like
okay.
it says Pryor.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, but it's still racist,
Yeah, it is kind of a
It's
letdown,
not
though.
really the clothes that make the racist, it's the man. So try to keep my end of the bargain up. Yeah, what you were saying about the book too. When I was reading the book, I had, you put your own inflections and everything in it, and then hearing it takes on a different characteristic as well too. Like everything's like, um, I don't know, you get a better sense of the characters with the audiobook, but at the same time, I don't think you can go wrong either way. Honestly,
It,
it's
it
just
was marvelous.
Thank you,
yeah.
buddy.
I did one of the cool things about this book is that like in a place like Delco, which I've been to just briefly, but these blue collar towns, like each of these guys, everywhere they go, there's like a story about a seemingly insignificant place, like a bridge or like a behind a store or something like that,
Mhm.
which gives character to this place that other people would see like as a mundane life. But like most of us, these are the like our milestones or our monuments. And it's
Yeah, I think Delco is it's like a lot of places that I visited where like people, I don't know, they might not have a lot like monetarily, but you do end up living like a pretty rich life because you're just relegated to this one geographic location, but at the same time, it's like all these things are happening in this very specific area, whereas like people with means, like they have the opportunity to have experiences all over the place. It's like you
yeah,
might travel for work, for fucking vacation, have the ability to just go out of state and shit like that, whereas like a lot of people in Delco, um they don't have that luxury. So all of these stories are happening in this one specific area, so there's a lot of I think there's a lot of I don't know, like a lot of depth to these places
yeah,
where everybody might have a different story about a specific place.
right, and it's yeah, it's special to that person, and it makes it, I guess, like you said, these mundane places to the reader or whatever. It adds that to the place itself. And I think there's something to be said about comfort too. Like if you're too comfortable, you don't have adventures. You like
Mhm.
you're not forced into to things that you may not otherwise do. And these guys are living that every single moment of their
Yeah,
life.
you kept that sense of immediacy going the whole time. It wasn't forced. It rolled, man, and it rolled like a fucking
Yeah.
snowball, dude. It got bigger and bigger. I loved it.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, yeah, a lot of it is just based on my own experiences and a lot of like my own feelings about where I grew up because it's a love-hate relationship. I'm 45 and I still live here. I don't know if that's going to be the case, a few years down the line, but at the same time, it's conceivable I might spend my whole life here.
Yeah.
And it's a weird place. It's like kind of like there's like an electric fence on the outskirts of Delco where it's like I don't know that I'll ever be able to get out. And I don't know. It wouldn't be the worst thing if I stayed here, but at the same time, it's like I don't know. Maybe I might want to venture out a little bit too.
Well, all the best authors have a conflicted relationship with their origin and the place they come from. It seems like, and you're clearly I mean, dude, it's wild that I know you, and you've crafted several books. I really appreciate how you craft your books.
Thank you,
The
man.
parenting book was the first one I read. I still fucking laugh about. But man, I'm trying to finish my first one, and it's such an inspiration. Like I'm in the last, I'm at the finish line.
Hell yeah.
That's the hardest part for me is tying it off. But dude, this just riled me up to do it even more.
Thank you,
So
man.
I
And
just I
I
appreciate
enjoy.
you.
Thank you, and I appreciate you too, bro. And I'm excited. As soon as you put yours up for sale, I'm going to buy it.
Appreciate that.
But it's super challenging at the same time. Like a lot of it is just born out of necessity. Like nobody's doing shit for me, and it's like everything that I do, it's like I got to hustle to fucking make it happen. And with On Percs, like once I put it up for sale, enough people bought it as to where I felt okay with putting in my 2 weeks notice with my boss and just leaving my full-time job. But at the same time, it's like that's when the work starts. Because
Yeah.
every day it's I gotta ship out books. I gotta do customer service. It's like I gotta figure out, you know, email as many people as possible to try to get on their podcast to promote it. And it's
Well,
it's always like a work in progress. And like with each book, I feel like there's something that I'm picking up along the way. And especially with the last two, it's a little bit different because people are buying it, people are reading it, whereas the first two, nobody gave a fuck about it, and it was just more like a project for me that I was doing.
yeah.
Um,
But I mean, clearly this is, commercial quality authorship. You're
thank you, brother.
the work is amazing. How you put it out, do it all yourself. It's fucking crazy.
When you put this book out, were you knowing that there's going to be people like, you've already with On Percs, you had this the people that bought the book, they're going to probably buy this book. Was there like this sort of, I don't know, were you nervous about putting the book out, like putting yourself out there? Because uh anything worth that's creatively satisfying is a little bit nerve wracking because you're putting that piece of you out there. Were
Yeah,
you nervous about that?
100%, dude. And as I got closer to the date that I thought like everything was going to be done and where I said I was going to put it up for sale, I was having nightmares of just people hating it or not buying it. And I just remember this one specific nightmare where I just kept hearing somebody saying the words, "They're going to hate it. They're going to hate it. They're going to
Mhm.
hate it." And it would just, I would just wake up in the middle of the night, just anxious because, part of it is, it's like, all right, here's all my thoughts that, I haven't been telling anybody about for the past however many months. And you feel like a dickhead because it's like, it's like you made an art project for your mommy. It's like, here it is. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh man. And it's like, I know some people are going to hate it. Like some people are going to talk shit about it. But at the same time, it's like with anything I'm doing, like I want people to either laugh and feel good about it or just be able to relate to something in that book. And I think with this specific book, there's a lot of jokes in it. There's a lot of funny moments, but at the same time, I really wanted to hammer home the point that in a lot of cases, when people don't have shit financially and they don't even have fucking hope, a lot of times you're just relegated to having somebody close to you as the only thing that you have.
Yeah.
And in this case, it's like the Fats and Tommy, all they really have are each other. So, in a lot of cases, and I can relate to that too. There's, I've talked about this a couple times on podcasts, but there was a time when my wife and I first moved in together where I was watching a show. We had no money. I was watching a show on Entertainment Television about traveling to Los Angeles. And I remember thinking, like, God, that would be so cool. All this shit looks like so much fun. And then I looked up how much a plane ticket to Los Angeles costs, and it was from Philly to LA, it was like $400. And I was so depressed because I was like, I'll never have $400 in disposable income. And at that time, it's like all I really had were like my relationship with my wife and my relationship with my friends. So that's something I wanted to get across in the book because I think, a lot of people could relate to that kind of shit.
Yeah, I mean, I think you definitely nailed it on that too. And like you said, there's a lot of like it's extremely funny, but yeah, that relationship is like really nailed down through
Oh
the
yeah,
whole book
it's
too.
beautiful. I mean,
Yeah,
it really is a beautiful relationship through all the insane shit
yeah,
these guys go through. Having each other's back and being true friends. And I gotta say this, your character craft is awesome. you take
thank you, man.
people that other people would classify as NPCs or side characters, and they are all front and center. They are all interesting, vibrant, crazy, full of all these different things going on, complicated. Even some folks that people would consider dregs, they have their shining moments, they have their luster. That's a beautiful thing to read. It's because with my background, you see people who are cast off, and you see them in their shining moments, and you see this happen, and that's something that you really illustrated here. And it was fantastic to read. I laughed my ass off, I cheered, all that shit.
Thank you, Jason. And I mean, to me, like, that's where I'm from. That's Delco. It's like there's so many people where it's even I do it too. Like I'm very judgmental. There's a lot of times where like I'll catch myself doing it. And I'm just like, man, what the fuck? Like, chill the fuck out. But you could put yourself in any situation here. Like, for example, like, I've been in bars in Delco where I'm just like, dude, these people are absolute fucking losers. But at the same time, it's like I'm in here drinking with them. So it's like, all right, maybe you fucking tone it back a little bit. But at the same time, there's as far as like the title too, there's like to me, Dirtball is kind of like a spectrum. In the like Fats and Tommy are at the higher end of like the Dirtball spectrum, where they have clearly redeeming qualities in that they're loyal to one another, they look out for each other, and there's something that snaps in them where they decide like, hey, I kind of want a better life.
Yeah,
and
there's
then
ambition.
there's the other end of the spectrum, like a guy like Tommy's dad, Warlock, which is an absolute through and through piece of shit who's just every action is scheming to benefit himself. And I feel like both versions of Dirtballs are like they're evident. If you spend a day in Delco, you'll come across somebody who's really rough around the edges, but they wouldn't think twice about helping you if you were pulled over with a flat tire. And then there's somebody who saw you with a flat tire, they wouldn't think twice about coming up to you and asking you for money while you're changing your fucking tire.
I think that is a regional thing there, but there is a universal thing to that because there's a lot of characters. I see.
I'm having piss flashbacks right now. You drink out of that jug, dude. I was like, I know where this is going.
It's good for you, man. And by the way, I'll never look at C-sections or check cashing the same way.
Oh, dude.
And I don't appreciate you basing that character of the check cashing guy on me.
Yeah, that was fairly evident.
Dude, I have your picture right up here, John. I'm staring at it as I'm typing.
Especially, when you're reading it in the audiobook. I mean, it's just like it.
It's sexy. But there are people that I could easily, from where we're from, place in that book as well. And I think although it's different world, there is some of the same qualities that these people I know being in blue collar towns. And there's like that certain like wisdom that they all come with, like their little sage advice. This one guy I know who would be right in this world. Well, he would have been.
He's still dancing at the edge.
Yeah, he's actually a drug counselor now, but he told me, like, if you ever want to rob something or someplace, get a fishing rod, carry a fishing rod with you, because if the police stop you, you can always say you were looking for somewhere to go fishing. And I was like, dude, it never occurred to me, but he's like, yeah, we used to always rob places, man. Like get our fishing rods on. I'm like, dude, well, first of all, nobody's gonna believe you were fishing.
Yeah, the first place he robbed was a sporting goods store to get the fishing rod. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good stuff. He also
he died.
Yeah, he died. And
no, his friend died.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, his friend died.
his best friend died from ODing on crack in front of him. And
the guys,
they call the ambulance, so they make sure him and the guy's uncle make sure they smoke up all the crack before the cops get there.
Yeah, they
do not render aid, they just get busy smoking crack. Now they called for the ambulance, but there was no other aid rendered besides.
They smoked the crack before they called the ambulance because they didn't want the.
It might have been that.
Yeah.
It might have been that. Yeah.
But he also named his first kid Jordan Kobe. So
yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. He's the real deal.
Yeah.
He calls into the local radio station now, and his name is his real name, but the moniker Heroin, and then his name is before that.
Dude. Naming a kid Jordan Kobe, it's like, I feel like, just like I mentioned, Dirtball is a spectrum. I feel like Wigger is a spectrum too.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's got to be top tier Wigger, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, he
To this day.
well, he had a nickname that was close to that. That a
Yeah.
lot of people called him, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Black people call him that too. They're just
yeah,
like,
yeah, that was his name. But yeah, I used to hang around people that hung around him. So anytime I was around him, it was always some weird shit. I remember going to his house, or his mom was cleaning out this house that she lived in. She was moving somewhere else, so he was helping her get stuff out. And we were over there, and he pulls out this drawer, and he pulls out these Polaroids. And do you remember this?
Mhm.
And he pulls out this picture of his mom when she was like 25, and she had a like giant bush and a dildo in, and he's like showing it around.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm like, dude.
That's the picture album.
I was like, dude,
Yeah.
give me that and put
Yeah.
it, let me,
John took it home and he still has it.
Yeah, so I have it. It's
You
good
gotta tell him
stuff.
about the neighbor, dude.
The
I
neighbor.
never met the neighbor.
Oh, the midget
Mhm.
German. Yeah, there was this midget German lady that lived next door to him, or down the street from him. And she had this son that looked like he was about 4, but he was actually 16. And he'd always try to like get money from people.
He was like the thief from Golden Axe.
Yeah, and
He
so
just-
like if people were like playing cards at their house and they had the money on, he would like walk by and like steal money off the table. And yeah, it was weird. But anyway, she would
you say, I see money.
yeah, I see what he did. She would always like pull her tits out, and apparently this dude, I almost said his name, was over there like sucking on her tits all the time. And we saw her out one night, and she was like, "Hey, how come you never come over my house and suck on my titties anymore?"
Oh,
Pretty hot. Yeah, it was like
that's
it was
sad,
like a
man.
lot high. It was more high pitched than that. I mean, I can't do their voices. I don't want to kind of little hands and everything, but it was I don't know what happened to her.
Regular size honkers.
Yeah, weird enough. Like the torso was normal, but everything else. I don't know about like, her vagina or anything.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I
God's
imagine
fucked up, man. I mean, he'll like you see all these people, man, and you just wonder, like, man, how many beers did God have the night that he made her?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the fact that she's German too didn't help.
That might have been Night Train.
Yeah. Yeah. But she was hot. I don't know. No, not really, but I miss her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's just watching Shrek and playing Street Fighter 2 the night he made me.
Is she dead?
I have no idea. I haven't seen
Oh.
her in like 15 years or more.
Well,
Probably
look
more
in
than
your
that.
heart, and she'll be right there.
Yeah.
Probably.
I think if I yeah. I think if I dropped some gold coins, she might appear. Scurry up.
I like the dirty cop angle too. The Dicklers. That was great, dude. That made me happy because it made me think about all the dirty cops I've had to deal with. And I'm like,
Dude,
yeah,
I'll bet, man.
it's about that dumb sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, there's people that I know of, and there was a guy that I had a brief interaction with when I was like around like 18, 19, that a friend was like hanging out with this cop who was like a really bad person, and he was trying to like, my friend was having an issue with his girlfriend, and this cop was like proposed this scheme to him where he would help cover for my friend if he decided to kill the girlfriend's the guy that she was talking to.
Jesus.
And it was like, bro, you have a wife and kids and you're a cop. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Somebody who's they just got into it
Yeah.
to get over.
Yeah.
And they're imminently going to hurt someone.
Yeah. And I saw him on I saw him on Facebook a few years back, and he's not a cop anymore, so I don't know what happened, but I don't think he ever got in like too serious trouble. But he was a very scary dude, and like that was like part of like the inspiration for the chief in this case.
Well, I mean, there are unfortunately way too many of those out there for my liking. Of course, like zero, but I ran into some like that, and we put away for like 25 years for some shit he did. And then another dude who was just a thief who lied about all his credentials, coming from another state, and he would just ride around like as a cop in case places and then go back and steal shit later on, and like trailers and stuff like that and
That's
equipment. Yeah, he would take the serial numbers off and go take them out of state and sell them. Yeah, so
That's
he
a
got
good plan though.
yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
he got like 8 years. And then the funniest ones are the people who steal evidence, like money out of evidence. That's the funniest shit in the world to me. Because I'm like, you're literally, this is under lock and key. It's logged, and almost everyone has a redundancy. So like, if it's one person stealing it, it's two persons stealing it. You know, it can't go far without that.
Is evidence theft like one of the bigger crimes the cops get popped for?
Yes, particularly at like administrative side people. I know of three civilian instances where it was basically like if the lady wasn't a sworn officer in one case, well, all three cases it was a lady. Then she was sworn, but just didn't do anything besides evidence control, and didn't wear a uniform, any of that. And every time it was money, and they would just steal stacks of cash out of evidence. So you got to do an audit. And at least you got it under electronics, like who swiped in.
How do you walk out of evidence with money, like stacks of? No, this was mine. I brought this in, by the way. This
this money that's covered in blood was mine when I
this is mine. I had this when I came in. It's like when you walk into.
Yes, this cash smells like cocaine, but that's not where it came from. But no, I mean, like multiple times, it happened in almost identical ways, and they got popped. And only one of them ever got charged. The other ones got swept under the rug and they just got fired. But then there was one dude who did it at a local agency. He was a detective, and he got in deep. I'm pretty sure he was on drugs, like fun drugs. And he had been fired from another agency for having sex with an informant.
Oh, geez. Yeah, but how are you supposed to get information otherwise? That's why they call it pump for information.
Yeah. Touche. Yeah, you got me on that one. Yeah, there was a flaw in that plan.
You fucked up, dude.
Well, I call this dude Lemon Face because he always looked like he bit into something sour. Like his face was just always
eating informant pussy, man.
Yeah, well,
there's gonna be no jaw soon.
Damn it! Did you see Janet? Did you see Janice again? Why? Why do you say that?
It's be like Michael Douglas.
Yeah, worth it. But yeah, no, he got popped like taking large stacks of cash, and he seriously did not think that he would ever get caught. Like he was super surprised. He's like, no, he's like, did you check behind the shelf? Did it fall behind the shelf? Like, dude, come on.
I mean, you gotta do something, man.
They didn't check behind the shelf.
They didn't check.
They didn't.
That's all right, man. Yeah, I mean, how many years did he get?
He got a very extended probation and restitution.
I bet he had bail money though.
He did.
He's all right.
Nice guy otherwise. He just didn't need to be a cop or be around money.
So he works at a bank now.
Or informant, yeah.
I was gonna ask you about the book, the characters. When you're reading it, you kind of put the physical characteristics of the people, like you kind of envision what they look like. But were these guys, were they amalgamations of people? Or are they certain people? Or because I can kind of see some people they could possibly be, but I don't know what were you thinking?
Yeah, there were certain elements from each character that was something that stood out from a person that I encountered, in my life. And like from my experience, the kind of like sidekick that will, be the mongoose peddler, he's normally a fat, quiet, retarded guy.
Yeah.
Whereas the guy that rides on the pegs is normally the brains behind the operation.
Yeah,
you got somebody else working for you. Inherently, you're the boss. That's.
Yeah, it was also interesting about their, people consider them brothers. I mean, this isn't us, but like from the beginning, you kind of learn that, and it also made me think about like family and how, like, there used to be this nuclear idea of family, the nuclear family, and these guys are kind of what real family is. Like it's whatever you make it. Like I have family members that I probably will never talk to again, just because it's just, you know, I don't have anything in common with them. They're just, it's
So you
distant.
talking about the snake people?
Yeah, the snake people.
Oh, okay.
But they're also, you know, my friends that
John has snake people.
yeah, I have friends that are, you know, basically my family. They've been my family for years. And I think that shows, you know, the book shows that in a really interesting way too. It was, you know, really well written.
And I think like, you know, a lot of it just ends up becoming autobiographical because that's how I feel. I feel like I'm much closer to a lot of people, you know, who are friends. And it's easier. It's also easier for me to become closer to people who I barely know. Like
Mhm.
I have a much easier time. For example, like I give out my phone number on podcasts all the time because it's like I genuinely like want people to feel like they have somebody to talk to if something's on their mind. And it's very easy for me the second I see a text come through to respond with something heartfelt and have a connection with these people. Whereas, you know, in my personal life, it's difficult for me to do that with family. And I don't know why that is or why that happened, but it's much easier for me to like forge like more emotional, longer lasting connections with people that are friends as opposed to family.
Stakes are so high with family. You know, they know everything about you.
Mhm.
And, you know, there's nuance to everything. What you say to them, how they say it to you, you can take things the wrong way. It's such a heavy relationship.
They get mad when you jerk off during Thanksgiving dinner in the bathroom and everybody's waiting on you.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, it's time to eat. It's time to eat.
Yeah.
So
I've said I'm giving thanks. All right.
yeah, you got the little thanks on the sink again, John.
Yeah. Yeah.
I gotta ask, how much editing do you do? Because it seems very effortless, like
No,
what you're doing.
Yeah.
honestly, man, like I feel like I've read the book a bunch of times, and I feel like each time I do it, it just feels like there were more and more things that I had to correct. And it's so moving forward, if I for the next book I write, I'll definitely have an editor. Just one because it's super tedious, and two, I just think having somebody else's eyes on it uh, makes them more apt to pick up on something that I might not pick up on. Um, but I feel like when I go through, like I'll go through and write. Like my goal for each day when I was writing was to write 1,000 words a day, and at the end of like that 1,000 words, I'll just go through to make sure the sentences make sense. And I have a tendency to write run-on sentences, but I kind of like it that way. It's just the way I think. That's the way I write too. Um, so I really just try to like look for like glaring mistakes, and it
Right,
just comes through like reading through it as many times as possible because I feel like I really enjoy writing. So to me, like that's not the work.
right.
The work comes in editing and trying to put all the shit together. And I had issues with formatting, like the margins were like a quarter inch off, and it will bother me until the day I die that these margins are a little bit off. And
Wow.
it's it's if I could go back and change things, I would edit that. So it's like I would find a program that makes it easier to edit margins because it wasn't as simple as going back in and fixing that, with the program that I use to format everything. But um, yeah, overall, I have a pretty good idea of what I want to say and what I want to get across with each scene. And I think the clearer you are with your outline of where you want the story to go, the easier that is. And then after that, it's just a matter of like finding typos, finding grammatical errors, and just trying to make as much of what you've written make sense.
Well, I'm definitely going to be picking your brain and bugging the shit out of you. So I'm sorry in advance, but
No, I'm happy to do it, man. And
dude,
that
that go ahead.
I was just gonna say, anybody listening or watching this, if you have questions, like I'm happy to answer them too, because like with each book, I feel like I learn a lot. And also being self-publishing it, it's like you have no choice but to learn all this shit.
Yeah.
And as you do it, like there are programs which can help you with some of the process, but at the same time, it's like you have to, ultimately you're the editor, so like you have to make sure everything's the way you want it, and everything looks right, and just make sure it's up to your standards. And I there's some things that I wish I could go back and change that I will change for the next book, but at the same time, it's some of that is just part of the learning process.
Well, somebody told me, I don't remember who it was, but they said like you're never finished with your book. Like even when you're finished, you're always thinking like I
You
could
want
have done this
tinker.
right. And so there has to be a point where you're like, okay, this is it. This is where it
Yeah,
needs to be.
where did that come for you on this one? Where did you say I'm putting this down? It's done.
I don't know. There's well, part of it was I was leaving for Disney the next day, like when I finally submitted my shit, where it's like, all right, I'm going to be unavailable for a week, so I have to like get this stuff in. So that kind of made it easier. Whereas like I might still be fucking with it otherwise
Right.
if that didn't come about on the beginning of July. But
Well,
yeah, I agree with that, John. It just I think about it like there are random points in the day. I'll just think about something from the book where I'm just like, ah, fuck, I could have done this differently, or I could have made this much better. And
can I make a quick suggestion for a sequel story with these characters?
yeah, go for it, dude.
Matthew Perry style death. These two guys are the only two that can make this happen. They can solve it. They've opened their own private investigation agency.
Well, it's funny you mention that because one of the ideas, I think the next book, Tim Butterly and I are working on something. I don't know if that'll come before my personal next one. Um, but for my next novel, the idea I have, there is something that's kind of related to a Matthew Perry-ish death, which kind of sets the wheels in motion for the main character to kind of set out to do what he ends up doing.
Nice. Is this going to be possibly first person as well? Because I love your first person, man.
I don't know. I
It's
haven't
great.
decided yet, man. Yeah, it's kind of up in the air right now, but I feel like, once I start developing the story a little bit more, I think that kind of presents itself. I think the story kind of dictates that more than I want it to happen.
If I could like put a dream project together, I would have your characters and whatever you're working on riff with Danny McBride and Jody Hill's characters. Like
Oh,
seeing that
dude,
kind
those
of
dudes are the
interaction.
best. Yeah.
That I mean, but just seeing them go at it it'd be a dream come true, man. That'd be fucking great. I was
No.
thinking about that when I was listening. I was like, man, this is just get these fuckers to go at each other. That's all I want to see.
Yeah, from your mouth to God's ears,
Yeah,
bro.
man.
But and that's another thing. It's like with things that I wish I'd done differently or things that like I'll change for next time. It's, I would like to have uh more development between like interaction. I feel like it's easier for me to write situations than it is for me to write dialogue. So like I'm working on improving that too for the next one.
Well, I mean, dialogue's hard as fuck because most people only talk in like 5 to 7 word
Mhm.
breakups. So yeah, I mean, and then for me, I get too bogged down in my own sets of rules. I'm like, just write what the fuck works. What's somebody gonna say here?
Mhm.
That's where I kind of unclench. But
Yeah, and you
I'm
have to
not a
trick
published
yourself.
author.
Yeah, you kind of have to like trick yourself into thinking like it's a remembering that you know most people aren't going to launch into a fucking soliloquy outside of a strip club.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very simple interaction, and everybody's got an objective with what they want to accomplish, and you know uh, it can be hard to keep that in mind when you have time to write something.
Yeah,
Whereas if you're writing a scene where there's an argument, you have to keep in mind that people are tensions are high, people's blood pressure is up, and you might not be as eloquent as you would like to be if you were writing like an email to a person at work that you had a disagreement
right.
with.
Yeah, all my most of my hacking and slashing when I edit goes into dialogue. Like that's where shit gets cut. Because I'm like, nobody fucking is gonna say that.
Mhm.
And also, if you're writing first person too, the narrator doesn't always have to be the reliable narrator. Like
Oh
they
no,
you know
no,
what I mean? They
yeah,
can lie and exaggerate about things as well.
lie to themselves.
Yeah. Um,
That's the fun of first person.
so yeah, I'm writing my manifesto right now, and it's
Another one?
yeah, it's having trouble. I don't know if I want to go pro or anti-government.
Is it going to be like this one that you wrote right after you got out of the hospital?
Yeah,
Where one of the things on here is a fire truck with tits on the front.
yeah, of
Uh,
course it is.
and that's me as a bull.
Yeah,
I'm sure of that. But
yeah.
it's I'll have to send you the picture. It's just fucking madness.
Speaking of that, I had an identical thing happen to me that's in the book about with the nurse and the finger. Dude, almost identical to that. It happened to me. This lady was, I had her one night and she was such a fucking bitch, man. she tried to walk out. She was like, don't you, I think it was like some injection she had to give me. She's like, don't you want this early? She just wanted to leave. Like, and she's like, don't you want this early? I'm like, I don't care. I don't want it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was I had an experience with a lady who wasn't a nurse. Like she was a respiratory therapist. I was having some kind of breathing issue like years ago, and I just went to the hospital because I didn't know what the fuck was wrong with me. It was just something that was lasting forever. And she brought up I don't know what's called. It's just this mouthpiece that attaches to this it's not a respirator, but it's a nebulizer.
Oh yeah, yeah. I had one of those recently.
And she brought them out, and as she opened the mouthpiece, she dropped it on the floor. And she picked it up and she handed it to me. I was like, I'm not putting that in my mouth. She's like, well, then I got to go all the way back downstairs. I was like, all right. And then after that, she was a real fucking bitch. It's like, I don't know.
I mean,
That wouldn't be
common
something I
sense.
think most people would do. It's like, ah, fuck, I dropped it. Therefore, I have to go back. Or just bring a second one.
Yeah.
It's a plastic fucking piece, man.
Yeah, those things usually they give you like extra ones of those with the nebulizers, but yeah. It's amazing what people will do to kind of like doesn't matter what field it is, they'll do whatever they can to get out of work. It's pretty
It's
fun.
nuts. I think there's a natural assumption with certain fields that you're going to get somebody compassionate.
Yeah.
And it's, that goes for, I worked in education for a long time. There's people that they're just people who can like having summers off and can fucking tolerate kids from 8 to 2. And then, in the medical field, there's people like that where it's just, I guess you can make decent money, but you don't really have to have a lot of patience.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you do have
Yeah,
patience, but not having patience.
I don't want any patience. Yeah, teachers. I used to be an education reporter, and getting to know like even the principals and higher ups, superintendents and all that. Like, yeah, it really opened my eyes to how, how fucked up a lot of those people are. But it's also
Now I get why these kids so goddamn dumb.
well, dude, like watching, Jody Hill, vice principals. I was like, that's not really that far off from a lot of these people. They're pretty fucked up. Well, I mean, but then again, they're hanging out with a bunch of kids all day, and you can't touch them. So what are you gonna do? I mean, you're fighting that off.
You're gonna get on the list.
I mean, yeah, I'm already on the list. It's fine. Again, speaking of Jody Hill, this is how I segue into this. Rough House produced Tires. You were
Right.
playing, an upstanding member of the community.
I think he was a great guy. He was just being part of the community.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I related quite a bit to that. Did you were you given a lot of advance notice on that, or did he just John say like come in and just do whatever you want, or how did that go?
Yeah, I mean, the way it works is like I think maybe a week prior, I got an email from somebody that worked under John, said like, "Hey, John wanted me to reach out to you to see if you'd be willing to play this guy." And it's like I saw, I was like, "Yeah, I mean, that's me."
Yeah, I was gonna stand up. It's like, yeah, I
Yeah.
am that guy. That's who I am. But
Yeah, and it's they just tell you when to show up, and you show up, and you get the script. I think a couple days before, so you get an idea for what they're going for. And one of the cool things about McKeever is he'll give you like room to improvise too. So it's like you could say the lines, but then also he'll trust you like to kind of make the decisions you want to make along the way while working like within the parameters they set. And he's very easy to work for, and he's very fun to work for. And that was just a really fun 2 days that I got to be there.
your nonverbal stuff on that was just as funny as anything you said. The looks you fucking gave, the looks you gave Mary. Like, how scary was Mary?
Terrifying. Man.
She was so good. I fucking love her, man.
She's so nice.
She's a total sweetheart, but she scared the shit out of me for you.
Yeah, she was great. She's one of my favorite people. We've been friends a long time, and it was fun to get to see her like that.
Yeah, I think she needs a lot more of those.
Well, she's a champion, man. She's a heavy hitter. She can stand in a room with anybody.
Yeah, she really makes me laugh, man.
Yeah.
She has a Marilyn Manson joke that I think is like one of the greatest jokes
Oh
of all
yeah.
time, man. It's yeah. So you're getting ready to head out to Austin, and then you're going to Skankfest. Was that the first weekend or second weekend in September?
I think it's the last week in
Last
September.
okay. I'm my time's all off. So Austin, you've been there before, right? You've been there a
No,
few times. No, you've never been to
no, this will be
Austin.
my first time. I've been to Houston and I've been to Dallas, but this will be my first time in Austin.
Are you is Cooper going to film this as well? Are you guys doing
No,
another road trip?
this we're doing. We got shows the 21st and the 22nd. But the rest of the time we're just gonna go out and do some fun stuff and hope to find some spots. We're doing a couple podcasts while we're out there.
Hell yeah.
So I'm excited about that. And a bunch of our friends live out there, so it'll be a nice
Yeah.
chance to get to reconnect with them and just kind of see what all the fuss is about, man. I'm excited to get down there and do some shows and just really have fun, man.
Dude, they'll keep your ass. They're gonna
Yeah.
fucking love you guys.
Wouldn't take much, man.
We were hanging out with Nate Marshall and Andy
No,
Malfarina the other night.
Big
They were up
Red.
here and
Big Red, thank you.
yeah, they were I guess Andy's moving down there or has
Yeah.
moved or whatever.
Oh,
He was
cool.
talking about driving from New Jersey all the way
Yeah,
back
he just
home.
got the house down there. So
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it looks
seems to be a much better quality of life than like the East Coast, man. It's like houses are so much cheaper. Seems like there's a lot more space. Yeah, anybody who I know who lives there says they really enjoy living there, especially if they're coming from the East Coast, man.
mhm. Yeah, there's quite a few of those like the
I think it's pretty great. The Philly contingent that's now in Austin, Texas. I'm like, somehow that works. I don't know how, but it definitely fits together.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it, buddy.
Yeah, I will see you in a cowboy hat. That'll be exciting. That'll be good.
I used to have one. I bought one. After work when I worked in education, we got sent home early one day because there was a blizzard coming. And me and two of my degenerate coworkers, there was a casino that just opened up close by to the school that were just like, fuck it, why don't we go to Harris Chester? And we went there. And it was like one of those times where it's just like you're just winning constantly. I think we each went home with like $800 or something like
Holy
that.
shit.
Which yeah, it's a lot of money now, but like back then, I think I made like $300 a week. So it was like I hit the fucking lottery. And it was a blizzard, and the mall was open for another hour when I left the casino. And I was like, I gotta get some shit. I just cannot have this money in my pocket and do something productive with it. I have to buy shit. So I bought my wife a Game Boy and I got myself a cowboy hat.
Nice.
That is
And
sweet and dumb at the same time. It's really cool. I
dude,
like
it's even dumber because my windshield wipers didn't work. So I had to like Ace Ventura it like the way home with the window down and it's fucking 20 degrees outside.
I like a guy that comes out of a mall in a blizzard with a cowboy hat on.
Yeah. Very Dumb and Dumber reminiscent, where he's got the big cowboy hat and the paddle ball and like the 2 cases of beer.
Yeah, but I understand it though.
Oh no, I
it's
totally respect the move. That's easily something I would do.
When you guys went to that clown motel,
Oh my god.
I had seen a video like maybe I don't know, maybe a week before that. This other lady
That
went
was
there.
my fault.
Yeah, and she was like really playing it off about like the room and that graveyard out there and all this stuff. And
It was some hot YouTube chick who was living van life or whatever. I was like, oh, it's a hot YouTube chick.
She had this like tiny dog
Clown museum.
there.
Yeah, let's go. Let's watch this shit.
And then when you guys went, I was like, yeah, this is probably closer to
This is the experience I believe we would be
Yeah.
met with. Yeah.
If it was creepy, we would have said it was creepy. But I mean, Tonopah is it's a very cool old timey place, and the Clown Motel itself, it's kind of fucked up and gross, and it smells weird. Everything's old, and I was glad to only spend one night there, and the graveyard right next to it. I wasn't creeped out at all. It was just an interesting place, and the entire town was just like, it's a cool place to visit for like a day.
Yeah.
And the Clown Motel itself, I was glad to be out of there, in one shot. I mean, if it was creepy, I would have said it's creepy, but like I went to John Wayne Gacy's property a couple months ago.
Oh wow.
The house is different, so it's not like the same place where he lived, but the property, there's a definitive creepiness to that block.
Yeah.
That you could feel as you got closer and closer to the property. It's definitely a very strange feel that the Clown Motel did not have.
It just looks like it would smell like the room of a kid who had died a long time ago. Like they just,
Dude, it smelled close to like a porno theater.
Mm.
oh
Very,
That's because
yeah.
they had a lot of squirting going on. Okay.
God. Imagine jizzing carbonated water. That's a clown truly dedicated to his craft. He's just drinking soda water the whole day.
I imagine they had like a ban on all clown puns, like no clowning around, no calling anybody bozo. I don't know. It's just a fantasy of mine. The Gacy house, there's not like I don't really believe in the supernatural or anything like that. I'm not really into ghosts, but places like that where something's happened freak me the fuck out, man. Like, I can imagine there's such an energy in these places that is palpable.
Mhm.
And I can't imagine what that was like. I mean, yeah. And that guy got away with it for so long too. It was,
Well, they're literally in the walls.
yeah, but his standing in the community and everything was, it's just crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, he's one of the guys that I feel like we'll never really know the extent of just how fucked up he was or how evil he was. 'Cause,
Yeah.
he never struck me as somebody who would exhibit the slightest bit of remorse and just kind of want to help victims' families out and say like, hey, also this person, you guys didn't find this person, but I also killed them. He was never one of those kind of people. So
No, he was a true psychopath, and the time he came along and operated in was just perfect for him. The opportunity he had was there, and he took pretty much everyone he could.
Yeah, and he didn't really like you would think you're dressing like a clown. You also don't want to look like you're a pedophile murderer, but that clown outfit didn't help at all. There was
No,
no camouflage there.
no.
Maybe it's hindsight where I'm like, it's kind of creepy, but
Well, him being involved in the church got him away with a lot, a lot.
that's never happened before.
I've
Churches are
certainly,
pretty good about exposing their
I've certainly never arrested anybody for it from the church.
that the grim sleeper guy
Mhm.
in was it LA? Yeah.
yeah,
Like that guy, he was one of those guys that was like, yeah, I don't know how many people like he had didn't he have like photos that they were finding that
Yeah,
they
yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
Dude, and I saw a documentary on him a while back, and his friends were like, yeah, he kept bringing women over, and we were like, yeah, this guy's a ladies man. And then he's like, one of his friends was like, yeah, we don't ever see these women again. And I was like, yeah, it's
he's got no time to be tethered down.
yeah.
What's what was creepier, Spawn Ranch or Gacy's house?
Definitely Gacy. I like Spawn Ranch. I thought it was a mostly peaceful place, and I can't wait to go back there. We actually have a goal that we just decided on this week, where once we hit 3,500 patrons, we're gonna do a picnic at Spawn Ranch.
Oh, shit.
And
That'd be
dude, it
awesome.
honestly, it really, I think out of like all the places that I visited where like that are related to fucked up things happening, like that might be the most interesting and the most second visit worthy of the
Yeah,
places I visited, because there's just so much room to explore, and there's shit that you'll see where it's like, you'll see like a rusted piece of like a car that's back there where it's like it's conceivable that it was an automobile that the fucking Manson stole. And there's initials scratched in the things, and I granted, like, there's probably been countless people that go back there who just become aware of the place and are familiar with Manson's story, but who knows? It might have been from the Manson family itself, and it's it added it added probably more context to the overall story than any other place that I visited that's relative to any kind of popular murder.
yeah, yeah. I mean, anytime you see an actual scene, you're gonna it's far more immersive. You get You gotta go. You gotta go if you're gonna understand.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
and that was such a big part of the American like zeitgeist, how it changed the summer of love to, basically that hangover period.
Yeah, it was
I
the
think,
end of the 60s. I
Mhm.
mean,
yeah, and Hunter Thompson, I think, was a big
Yeah,
reason
and
for
Fear
Fear
and
and
Loathing.
Loathing,
He
sort of talking about that.
heard the wave crashing.
Yeah, and I think they really, in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, sort of hit on that really well. Even though there's, obviously it's
Well, and also I had another quick question. What's the
yeah.
best place out of all those like murder scenes and crazy places you guys have been? What's the best place to finger blast somebody? Like in your opinion, what would be
It's Spawn, man.
fun?
There's so many great areas to chill, so many great areas out in the sun. If you're in the sun fingering, if you're in the shade fingering, there's a lot of areas to provide some cover, man. It's kind of
Okay.
a finger's paradise back there.
That's good to know, man. That's good to know. And that's good for the people to know, I feel.
Yeah. Whereas a place like Gacy, it's a wide open neighborhood.
Yeah, you
What
can't do it.
dude, and one of the strange things about Gacy Street is there's so many different kinds of houses architecturally, which is
Yeah.
weird. There's no weird there's no like specific template, and it's I don't know. It just adds to the uneasiness of the place.
Well, I mean,
they obviously
give it.
don't check the porches
Yeah.
there. uh, yeah, the that book Chaos. I know you guys talked about it quite a bit. What's the author's name? I can't remember.
Tom O'Neill.
Yeah. Tom.
Yeah, Tom O'Neill. I emailed him one time. I was like, do you do podcasts, etc.? And he was like, he responded back. He was like, yeah, I'll do it for like $5,000 because I'm severely in debt from this book and I'll never
Oh no.
recover.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was
It
like,
cost him so much.
yeah, he's
Oh man.
apparently the lawsuits and whatever else he went through. But that
Man,
book's
that's a
great,
bummer.
man.
Yeah, super interesting, man, because there's so much either directly or tangentially related to that case where, I feel like there's always going to be new shit popping up. And,
Mhm.
it's just I don't know. It's one of the things that keeps it interesting is like we'll
Yeah.
never truly know, how many people were, in contact with the Manson family, interacted with them, you know, what their true motives were.
Mhm. I
Yeah.
mean, why Charles Manson was released so many
Oh
times
yeah.
and how,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's
And it didn't enter in as a great chance or even something I was entertaining as a realm of possibility. But the longer the stuff goes about the Trump shooter, I mean, there are a lot of parallels with that. I mean, I'm not saying I believe that's the case, but I'm
go ahead.
more open to the realm of possibility with that kid being a part of a program like that.
Mhm.
The longer time is drawn out, so it's
Yeah.
odd, and I didn't expect that.
I wonder if the MK Ultra people, former members, ever get together,
And play Mortal Kombat.
reminisce. Remember that time I was reading Catcher in the Rye?
Mark David Chapman.
Yeah. Speaking of, has Hinckley done any sort of interview since he's been out?
I don't think so, man. I hope he's able to fill his schedule with gigs, man, because anytime I see that he has a show, it seems like they're always getting canceled.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, come on.
I wish he would do stinkers. That would make me happy.
I would love for him to do that, man. So if you're watching John Hinckley, we would love to have you on, brother.
I wonder if he has someone in his life that sort of a caretaker or somebody that advises him not to do certain things, like certain interviews, because he seems like he wants to get out there. He's on Twitter and everything, and then
He's a very social guy.
yeah. I mean, obviously, I don't think Jodie Foster's gonna be hanging around.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
I think now this could be something that I made up because I want it to happen, but I think I remember her saying that she was remotely impressed that somebody would go to the lengths to do that on her behalf.
Yeah,
Do you
that
guys
sounds
remember
like
seeing
it.
something like
Yeah,
that?
I do.
I hope that's the case.
Yeah.
I hope because that guy went through a lot.
Yeah.
Right. And just to find out years later,
Yeah.
what ain't gonna happen.
No, boy, that fella, what a lovelorn fella.
How was she like a teenager when that
I think she was
happened?
14.
Nah.
Oh no, really?
No, she was
Oh,
like,
no, that was Taxi Driver.
yeah, she was young and Taxi Driver.
She might have been 19.
Yeah.
I would honestly, if I was going to name a dream guest for your show, I would love John Douglas to come on Little Stinkers.
I would love him too, man.
That I think he's such a charismatic dude anyway. When he gets to rolling, he's a funny dude, and I think you guys would have a blast.
There's somebody that I'm going to reach out to just because anytime I see him speak, I can't help but watch it. But Gil Carrillo, one of the detectives from the Night Stalker case,
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
he's out there. I know he does events and like he'll speak about the Night Stalker case, and he's retired now, and he's just a very, very intelligent, interesting guy who is just at the center of all this. And
Yeah.
mid 80s Southern California was such an insane time for murderers. I got a cat that wants my attention here. But it had to, I can't imagine how terrifying it would have to be to have direct knowledge of the extent of all the fucked up shit this guy was doing and be responsible for hunting him down.
Yeah.
Yeah, have that pressure on you as well. Like
But
it's not just local pressure, but like national pressure to do that.
Kitty.
this is Buddy.
Hey, buddy.
He
I
wants
don't
his
think he
head
can
rubbed.
hear you.
I know, but I'm still saying, hey, I'm going to be
Hang on, let
friendly.
me put the earbud. Okay.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
Why'd you say it like that?
I don't know. I'm just
Yeah,
I get
please.
that way around cats.
The cat's going to run the fuck away, dude. You're
Don't
always
let-
chasing pussy.
they
around.
don't
I don't
let
know.
me
He's
pet
tooting his
stores.
butt up, so he likes it, John. John, you have a way with cats, man.
I
Stay away
do.
from them.
I do.
It's not a good way.
You're like like of a mice and men with the cats
No, geez.
petting too hard.
Yeah.
baby.
You know who would be great on Little Singers too is either Michael Dowd or Kenny. What's his name? I don't know if you've
Yeah,
ever seen the
Ken Urell.
7-5 documentary.
What is it?
The 7-5. It's
Is that
about,
the cops?
yeah, dude.
Yeah,
it's
I have
great.
seen that. Yeah.
Those guys. I don't know where Michael Dowd is now, but
He was in Florida, I think.
yeah,
Uh-oh.
that's
That's
those guys.
he's a character.
Yeah, I know Kenny
Ken Urell. I'm pretty
Ken
sure.
Urell. Yeah, he's doing stuff now.
Yeah,
He's doing some
the-
interviews. But yeah, those guys.
Wild story.
Yeah,
I don't
they
know
were
that
framed
I don't know that I could do a good interview with those guys, but
just because you're you.
yeah, I'm just bad.
Has nothing to do with them.
I just ain't no good at this.
Yeah. Before we let you go, I want to mention that I am highly anticipating the next puppet theater. The
Diaper Puppet.
Diaper
Yeah.
Puppet Theater.
Yeah, you know what? I really enjoyed working with Diaper Puppets, and I'm glad you brought that up because I think I want to do it again later this month.
So I was watching and I was like, this is hilarious. And then I just got captivated, dude. I was like, what's gonna happen next?
There is a talent.
They're brothers, man.
Thank you, man. Hopefully, there's a market for it, and I can make some money doing diaper puppets.
I think
I can-
If anybody
huge.
can, you can.
Thank you, brother.
It's gonna be huge. And it really touched me. Inappropriately and appropriately. So
The way it's supposed to.
yeah. I mean, I always watch your show with a heart on, but that time it was really good.
Still have the hospital gown on then.
Yeah, I was in the hospital.
Yeah.
It's hot.
Nice little hospital tent. But Mike, thank you so much as always for coming on and humoring us, dude.
Boys,
One of
thank you. I
best
I
fucking
love you
resources.
guys. I love your show, and I'm glad we've become friends, man, because I always have a lot of fun with you too.
Likewise. And Delco Dirtball
Hopefully we'll be up in Philly this.
coming soon.
So,
Sometime,
yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
let me
we'll-
know when, and
we'll
we'll
set back.
plan something fun, man.
Fuck
Awesome.
yeah.
Delco Dirtball, definitely, if you haven't read it or listened or both, do both.
It is
Actually, I
the
recommend both.
funniest Wigger crime novel you'll ever read.
Thank you
Mhm.
so much. You can get it
Guaranteed.
at onpercs.com.
Yes.
Yeah, and obviously Dad Meat and Little Stinkers. If you're not a patron of either or both,
Get on it.
get on it because the content is unreal. These guys
Mm.
are so good to their fans and interactive with their fans. I mean, you're not going to get a better deal.
we
Than
need
that.
to get Mike enough money to buy Buddy a pill collar, like one where he can stash a couple, like right behind the little locket.
Yeah, and
Couple like 30s in there. So
I'll stay away. And then obviously follow Mike on
yes.
Twitter, Instagram. We'll always put the links up.
Dad Meat, Little Stinkers, acting, author, cat whisperer.
lover.
Yes.
This is Buddy's second podcast this week, man. I think he's really, I think he's got the bug.
Well, you know what? He's good at it.
He should
He's
have a
good at it.
Percast. Oh.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
As soon as I thought of that and it came out,
I loved it.
yeah.
Podcats.
There you go.
Gosh,
Another
that was
one.
better. Fuck you, man. Fuck. I'm gonna cut it off. I'm gonna cut that out.
All right, brother. We love you. Thank you so
I
much.
love you guys.
Be safe on your trip. We can't wait to
I
see
will.
what you do.
All right, let me know when you come to Philly.
Will do,
Absolutely.
buddy.
All right, later, boys.
See ya.
Later.
Get Mike Rainey's new book, Delco Dirtball, at onpercs.com.